Hello and welcome to another edition of the Chalk and Cheese Show. Wednesday already, and it flies around far, far too quick. There's just not enough hours in the week for us to do what we need to do with this show. I am DJ Casper, and as always, joined by DJ Charcoal. I'm going to get straight into it tonight. So, previously, we had an interview with a young lady called Lizette Martinez, and she was a survivor of R. Kelly. And it's come to light today that R. Kelly's actually been sentenced to 30 years for sex trafficking. So, yeah, I mean, it was a pleasure to have Lizette on and for her to share her story. And I just really hope that she is happy with the result that obviously was given today. So I'll be dropping her a little message later on after the show just to see how she's feeling. She'll probably celebrating, to be fair. So she'll probably be a little bit fucked up because I know I would be if I got that result. But we are joined today by Eden James, all the way out of New York, and the mini producer, who some of you might actually know because he has been a very, very big sensation online in the last couple of years. So it's a pleasure to have you both. But in the meantime, Charcoal, how are you today?
Same old, same old. You know what? I'm going to try and remain upbeat. I have had an awful week, as always. I just feel really down and depressed all the time. And then when I come on the show, it's like, come on, pull yourself together, Simon and Charcoal. But yeah, so look, there's a lot going on in my life. I'm still trying to stay in the country somehow, some way. Going through my citizenship to become a UK citizen. They're trying to kick me out as much as I can. As much as they can, sorry. So yeah, look, you know my story, mate. We had a little chat off air, and but what I did say is that this show here kind of revives me for that 1.5 hours that we are on, and then I go back down again. But anyway, let's not talk about my life story and my problems. Like Casper said, we have got two fantastic artists. Well, artist and a producer on today. Look, I'm excited about these guys because on one scale, we've got a very talented musician that has won awards all over the world, and we have an I wouldn't even call you upcoming mini, because you're kind of established, man. I've seen I've seen your website, and it's just like, man, you're already there. You're already on your way. So yeah, very pleased to have you guys on. And we did a kind of rock paper scissors. Nobody won, but we decided we'll go with Eden first. So Eden, all the way out from New York, I believe, and you were saying that the weather is quite nice outside. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You've got to look. I hope that background's real because you
Yeah,
did like a screenshot. Like, I'm going to
yeah,
test you out on that one. I want you to go up and grab that guitar off the off the wall and give it a little bit of a strum later on. But yeah, Eden, tell us a little bit about yourself, mate. You're a compatriot, so you're an Australian too, which is great to hear that Australian voice. So living in New York, man, you must be doing something right.
yeah. I speak to my dad about this sometimes, and he says, so I'm from Brisbane, Australia, and I grew up in a suburb in Brisbane called Zilmere, and my dad would just say to me, he'd look at my achievements and how long I've been here, just say, I still can't believe it. The boy from Zilmere goes over to New York and achieves all the
Zelmania,
success.
where is that, man? Over in
Oh, it's the
Brisbane.
north suburbs of Brisbane.
Oh wow, I've been to Brisbane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's almost similar, like a bit like Thailand, but less drugs and less everything else.
Yeah, it does have palm trees and a lot of water and water activities. So it's got that going for it. Yeah.
Exactly, nice place. What brought you over to New York?
So I left Australia. My first album was released in Australia. I signed to a record label there in Brisbane, and on the first album the album hit number 4 on the independent charts in Australia, which was
Wow.
and it got a lot of press and it was doing quite well. But after that, I felt, okay, how do I propel my career? And I thought, well, I'll move to the UK because it's sort of a natural thing for Aussies to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was easier to move to the UK than the US. and so I did that. I lived 7 years in North London,
Wow.
and got to work creating my second album over there. And then I signed a deal with EMI in Greece, and I had a #1 hit in Greece,
Nice.
which was great. And then they booked me for a festival over there, and to play with the Killers and Placebo and
Shit.
Moby. So that was all a lot of fun, right? This was like 2009,
Yeah. Wow.
and then just a year or two after that, I moved to the US. My girlfriend at the time suggested, she offered. She said, what do you think about moving your career to the US?" And I said, "Yeah, well, that makes sense. It's the biggest music market in the Western world, so that would make a lot of sense." So she put our names in the visa lottery, and I won a diversity visa. So that was great. That was a success. So I moved to New York in 2011.
Cool stuff. So how did you like initially feel about moving to New York? Because all the artists that we speak to in America, obviously the market is very, very saturated over there, in loads of genres. So how was your experience been regarding trying to get where you want to be and need to be in the US when you first started to where you are now?
So, well, when I arrived, honestly, I just went to work as I normally would. Is you start to play live, right? Play the circuit of the town you're living in. You play the circuit, that brings networking, and then that sort of brings you up a notch, and then you start networking. Get a team in place, management, PR, etc. So honestly, New York wasn't that different to, I say, London or even Brisbane, insofar as that you still go through the same process. Is you get your band out, you start doing shows, and you're always recording, right? This is like the thing about the artist and the producer. We're always recording, always creating content, and that's like a no-brainer. But a lot of the question is, well, how do you get your content then to succeed, and how do you go on from there? Yeah, it is a saturated market, the US, but the thing about, I guess, the US, because it's all separated with our states, and maybe Minnie, you can talk more about this, is since I've been here, it still feels like a small circuit. Even maybe it's because I've been here so long, and I'll be playing the same venues. Like you frequent the same venues, you see the same musicians playing for touring bands. I don't know, it just sort of feels like a circuit, like people you know. So I wasn't really worried about that sort of the oversaturation aspect. I just got in there, get your hands dirty and go for it.
Do you feel that you used, like, being an outsider from, coming from London, being Australian, did you kind of use that to your strength, like kind of being an outsider? I think we had a bit of a chat off air about how we're liked by US, where in our own country, in the UK, we find that people don't really want to kind of associate with you. It's more like competition. But if you go to kind of a different country, how did you use your kind of, where you come from, your background, to your advantage? Because Americans do like Australians, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. So I think it's like for a conversational and a social point is, where are you from? Oh, that's interesting. Sort of.
Yeah.
Although New York's quite the metropolis, so there are plenty of Australians here, but maybe not as many as in London, which are probably more so. Certainly not as many as Brisbane. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't know how I could leverage that though. It's a lot of people. I find that people want to make Australian band references, and for instance, a lot of some of the American presenters or journalists or just music critics would say, "Oh yeah, I hear In Excess or Powderfinger," and I'm thinking, well, that's interesting because I did listen to them growing up, but I don't feel they are sort of it's like part of my sound.
Yeah, yeah,
And but I think people want to make that connection, and maybe if they hear it, they hear it.
yeah.
I personally got a lot of references to the Velvet Underground, Springsteen, and Bowie also from when I was in London. There's a lot of Bowie references, and still a little bit here.
Sure.
Dylan, and all those references I completely see. So I make no bones about these are these are the people, these are my heroes, and
Yeah, yeah.
who I'm inspired by. So my sound should sound a little bit at least like them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just having a look at kind of your credentials or your EPK, you kind of liked by a lot of films, like in the film industry, with some of majority of your awards. How do you kind of tap into that market? Do you kind of send your tracks across to that kind of the producers, or how do you get into that market where a film goes, you know what, I'm going to use your track for this particular scene? Has it been kind of hard doing that? But looking at your kind of credentials, like I said, you seem to have a bit of a knack to it, because I had to scroll down a couple of times just to go through your awards. So yeah, how have you kind of tapped into that market, so to speak?
So it certainly helped having a publicist, and once I got a publicist on board, they did a lot of the heavy lifting and the research and the initial work. But as they were doing that, as they were doing that, there's a lot of work for the artists to do as well. Like interviews like this were happening every week when I released the album, and the singles and the videos. And then from that just gained more exposure. And then there were a lot of film awards which were seeing that. And I think once you win a couple of awards on one or two film ceremonies or award ceremonies,
Yeah,
the others see that, even globally.
yeah,
They
sure.
see that, and then they start checking you out and just liking your profile or my profile.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I see someone like my profile, I go check them out, especially if they
As you
name
do.
right. If they have a name like podcast or radio or film awards or something like that, I'll check it out, and then I'll send them my stuff.
Yeah,
So it can be very slow, but I think
yeah,
eventually it snowballs into this momentum thing where you're just starting to get a lot of traction all at once.
sure.
And it's kind of, you need to start to grow your team then, because one person can't do it.
Yeah, well, well, they can, but it's hard.
Yeah, that's right. You have no luck.
Very, very hard.
So just before we play your first track, I just want to get like a little bit of background on you. So how and when did you first think to yourself, okay, right, music is my calling, music is what I want to do? And what kind of instrument did you learn to play first?
So my mum is a piano player, and we had this upright piano in the living room, and in one of the corners we had a turntable, and speakers this high as it was in the day, and I would go sit there with the headphones that the big astronaut headphones, the curly cable, plug them in and listen to my older brother's record collection. And then my mum would play songs on the piano and would sing along to that. She'd have sheet music of her favorite artists. So I was blown away by that. That was like, music was sort of its own emotion. For me, it was like bread and butter. It was part of life.
Yeah.
So the first time I can remember from the instrument that I picked up, I was 8 years old, and the school put a flyer out for joining the marching band, being a drummer in the marching band. And I said, yeah, I'll do that. So I learned drums when I was 8, and then I went actually on, like, from 8, I was touring around the States with our school marching band, playing the drums, the side drum, with my little outfit, like, hat and everything. A tour bus, like we actually had a tour bus with the marching band on the tour bus, and we'd drive around playing festivals in the States. So I guess it was in my blood from then. I think, how do you go back from that? How do you say, oh no, I don't want to be a rock musician, Mum? No. It's like, yes, it was definitely in me. I caught the bug. And then I went on to learn keyboards. Even my drum teacher, I think when I was like 8 years old, he said, I think something like Paul McCartney makes £1 a minute from his songwriting royalties. And even as a young boy, I thought, if it's viable, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And so I knew I wanted to do it. Then there was all the challenges and all the difficulties as you try to make it a real thing in your life. God knows I've been doing this for a couple decades now. So it's been really tough. I mean,
so
this industry breaks you, right? It breaks you in half.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
You've got to get back up if you want.
Yeah. It's all about the individual mentality and how bad you actually really want it, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be truthful. I haven't listened to any of your music yet because I don't like to. So like I like to go in blind. I like to listen to it for the first time on the show so you can see my reaction, like my true reaction to it. So I'm quite excited about this.
That's it. End of interview. Sorry.
Not that bad. I mean, I'm not that bad. But yeah, Simon, I think we should definitely play the track, and then we'll get a bit of background about what the track was about if we can't figure it out for ourselves, etc.
Sure. So we'll play Ida James, and this is called Black Book. Let's go.
They grilled you like a broken preacher. Oh, ran right out of faith. Gonna put you in the black book. Gonna get you on your way down. They're gonna get you on your back foot. Gonna get you when you're down, down, down. You bring me down. You bring me down. You bring me down. You lost your habitation, and you needed a friend. A messed up and a strong-willed child. No direction, no plans. We talked about novels, and the cocktails were free. But you were in some kind of trouble, and trouble, ooh, it found me. Gonna put you in that black book. Gonna get you on your way down. They're gonna get you on your back foot. Gonna get you when you're. Now that you're under that microscope, you can run and hide. They see your love, the wrong paths you took. There in the whites of your eyes. I would carry you, babe. Carry you through the hurt. We can't keep pretending or thrashing around in this dirt. You live full of children that we'll never have. They're better off in afterlife, considering what we've shared. Gonna put you in that black glove, gonna get you on your way down, gonna get you on your back foot, gonna get you when you're down, 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 gonna put you in that black glove, gonna get you on your way, way down, gonna get you on your last hook, gonna get you when you're down, down, down.
Yes, yes. You tuned into the Chalk and Cheese Show live from Facebook, and we are chatting with Eden tonight, and he's out in America. So yeah, just a quick shout out for everyone watching on Facebook and our social platforms. That was, do you know what? I'll go first, Casper, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's your fellow countryman, so it'd be rude for me to go first, right?
Throw some Aussie, an Aussie and a New Zealand band into the mix. That obviously you've got that kind of Bowie and Bruce Springsteen influence. You can tell that straight off the bat. That your voice is like kind of a mixture of both. It's really kind of it's really weird to listen to. But refreshing. I didn't mean to sound weird as in weird. But the other two groups that I mentioned is kind of a little bit of Crowded House and a little bit of Black Sorrows as well in there. So I don't know, what are your thoughts of kind of that summary of being put into those guys' categories, and how do you think I've done?
Yeah, I think you've done pretty well. So I'd give you a 10 out of 10 charcoal for that.
That's made my day.
So Black Sorrows, Joe Camilleri and the Black Sorrows, right? That's him. Yeah. Oh wow, that's stuff that I probably should get into more.
Definitely.
I did really enjoy it back then, but I think what was happening is that he was the sort of roots and blues rock, sort of a blues rock and soul rock version of in Australia of what some other huge artists were doing overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought, Paul Kelly's like
throw a bit of Diesel in there as well.
Diesel, yeah.
Well,
actually, I've got a Diesel story.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, but I wanted to say, like Paul Kelly, I think he's like Australia's Bob Dylan, right? He's Australia's Bob Dylan. He's the poet. He's like folk, and speaks for the people, and is just an amazing artist. So the Diesel story. When I was 17 in high school, doing my senior year, they sent me off to work experience. You do a week of work experience, and I went and worked for Triple Z community radio there in Brisbane. Mm-hmm. And they just put me on the front desk. Like that was my job, just greet people as they come through the door. Yeah. Johnny Diesel comes in. No one had heard of him. He was like, this is a brand new album.
Wow.
Brand new artist. And I'm there 17 years old, my feet up on the desk, right? Like Johnny Diesel comes in, he says, hi, I'm here for an interview.
Wow.
I said, okay, cool. What's your name? And he goes, Johnny Diesel. And I went, okay, I'll let him know. And after that, I heard his music and I thought, damn, this is good. This is good.
What a great voice, hey. It's just like, I'm pretty sure he only kind of made a couple of albums, that was it, but just a really good voice. He used to come over across to WA and join in the telethon, obviously the fundraising, for cancer and all those kind of organisations. But I got to meet Diesel as well, and Tito Arena and all those kind of has-beens, and Danny Minogue. But yeah, it was all a bit surreal. Yeah, but that song there, to be fair, it kind of took me back to, and with no disrespect, it kind of took me back to the 80s where that music was there. And, for someone to actually rejuvenate that and, do so successful as well. And bringing kind of that genre back, because what do you call it? It's like a slow rock melody.
Yeah, that's like a medium tempo, like soft rock song. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was quite refreshing. I like the female element to it. It always is refreshing to kind of have another kind of person feature on there. Even if you're a rapper and have a R&B artist jump on the track, it's always good to kind of break it up and hear like another sound that's been introduced. But yeah, solid track. With that track there, was that one of kind of your ones that made a lot of awards off the back of that, or was the next track that we have?
Yeah, it was one. I have a few tracks on the latest album that the awards have sort of span across. But this one, Black Book, it did win several of the awards. My total of awards in the last 12 months is 35. So I'm a bit inundated with awards.
Do you go collect every one of them, or do you just like? Do you collect them all, or do you just go, just put it in the mail, just send it across?
Yeah, I collect them all.
Wow.
Most of them are outside in my cabinet, but I've got a few here behind me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Black Book definitely was an 80s inspired track, and I really was fortunate to have the help of members of Bruce Springsteen's band played on this. Larry Saltzman. Charles Giordano is the keyboard and accordion player in Springsteen's band, in the E Street Band, and he played keys on that. So all the keys you just heard and the organ, that's Charles Giordano from Bruce's band.
Wow.
And the guitar is Larry Saltzman, who's the guitarist for Paul Simon. So
awesome.
I was very fortunate to have this kind of level of
yeah, you can tell. You could tell because the production's quite tight as well. But yeah, really good track as an intro to us tonight. We've got another track we'll play, but before we get onto that, I'll let Casper obviously give his review. He got up and walked away, so that's not a very good sign, Eden. So
well, that was after the track. I think he had to sort of shout jubilation out the window.
You know what? You'll notice my camera keep going on and off because I'm actually eating, so I don't want to eat on camera. That's what I was there. I'm preparing food. I always do it every single show. I eat during the show, and I just don't want people to see me eat tonight. But with the track, I was very intrigued when it first started, because I thought, okay, you got a little acoustic vibe going on there, and then you had like the guitars come in and everything like that. It actually reminded me of you probably haven't been kind of compared, but I'm not saying your voice is the same, but like the production behind the track. Who was that geezer that dated Pamela Anderson? Tommy
Lee Jones?
Lee.
No, not Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy
Lee.
Yeah, Tommy Lee. He done a track called Summer of something. I don't know. Anyway, it reminded me of that song, and then and I thought, okay, yeah, I can feel this because it has like a summer vibe to it. When it first starts, it kind of like you can imagine loads of people like around the pool, party, just chilling to it and like jamming to it and dancing. And then obviously the vocals kicked in. Now, for me, don't take this like disrespectfully, but it sounded like you was talking the words more than you were singing them. I don't know if that's kind of like your vibe, but like with vocal ability, like it was kind of hard for me to say, oh yeah, like he sounds like him or he sounds like him, because it was all. Yeah, Bruce does that as well, doesn't he? Like he doesn't. He's very slow in what he says and like and the way that he portrays a song. So it's no criticism. Obviously, that's your vibe, and like I say, it was the first time I've heard it. It was just kind of I think I was expecting a bit more vocally than what the track actually did.
The second track will get you there. That's what you'll be after.
Okay,
well, tell you what, let's get into the second track straight away, and yeah, hopefully you can hear this one clearly, Casper. He's gone. And he's gone.
say time heals us all. Me, I still ask, what is love? What you got? What's it called? She wasn't there in my fall. Time to say, heal the song. I'm tired of asking, what is love? I'm crying for nothing. I'm dying for something called love, 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 love. Crying for nothing. I'm dying for something called love, love,
You are locked into the Chalk and Cheese Show with DJ Casper and DJ Charcoal, also joined by the fabulous Eden James and the mini producer. Eden, okay, now I can actually say something about the track. Okay, I got two artists who I would compare you to vocally on that track, and one artist on the production side. Okay, so now I don't want your ego to go massive when I say this. Okay, but I kind of got Mick Jagger vibes off that track, and obviously Bruce Springsteen. That's a given. And then on the producer side, with like the mad guitar riffs, it kind of reminded me of like I could have been listening to like a Bryan Adams track at that time.
Okay.
But yeah, now I've heard you sing, I would compare you strongly to Mick Jagger. That's what I heard. There's even if you can't hear or see it, like there was little snippets there, and I could imagine, yeah, man, that actually sounds like a Rolling Stones song, and Mick Jagger singing it. So whether the Rolling Stones were like a massive influence on you when you grew up, I don't know, but that's what I hear. That's what I hear. But yeah, man. I like the track. Again, it's kind of one of them. It's an uplifting track. It's a summertime track, and I can imagine a lot of people at a festival or in that kind of surrounding, everybody jumping around and like having a great time waving flags. I can imagine that. So yeah, man, it's a good song.
Oh, thanks, Casper. I appreciate the review there. It was definitely inspired from the Rolling Stones. You know, I set out to make a Rolling Stones sounding track, and so because I did that, I couldn't help but summon Mick Jagger in the vocal performance. It's like I had, like, if you're trying to get a very like Stonesy sounding track, it's like, well, you're going to have to summon Mick Jagger on the vocals.
Yeah. So kind of. It's funny how we say this. It reminds me of this, reminds me of that. So I went for a different artist this time. So like a Tom Petty kind of style. So I don't know how you feel about that as well. It kind of had a little bit of influences in there. But yeah, I quite like that track. I like a bit of an uplifting track, upbeat track. I'm not really kind of a slow rock. It's great to play at weddings. I'm a wedding DJ, by the way, so I do play a lot of slow jams at weddings and places like that. But yeah, when that upbeat kind of stuff comes on, with that track as well, I kind of mentioned to you before with the awards that you got on kind of Black Box. What type of films has that type of that track that you've just done? What has that kind of like been in? Are they horror films or like a car driving film, or like are they short films? Are they proper features, or what are they?
Well, honestly, for this track, the awards that this track won is it's won awards for best music video, best score on a short film. So they treat music videos as a short film at these award ceremonies. So as a short film, it's won best soundtrack.
Oh, wow.
And really, so it's just judging the song itself. It's like, well, how of all the soundtracks, in the competition, which is the best soundtrack?
Yeah.
So this one has a few awards for best soundtrack, best music video, best songwriter is won a couple times as well.
Nice.
In film awards. So
Nice.
so yeah.
So what's up next for you, Ian? And all that we're coming to obviously the close of the interview, and usually we ask that kind of generic question. What's coming up for you? Obviously, do you feel that you've done enough to kind of satisfy you to go, you know what, I've got a bloody good guitar hanging on the back wall. I've got all my awards behind me. I don't need to do any more. Like, what else do I have to do? Who would you like to feature with coming up? And, if you do have kind of that inspiration to feature with anyone, and what's in store for you?
Yeah. Well, I'd really love to sing or feature with Matt Berninger from The National. They're an American band that's doing sort of big, all over the world. I think they're touring in Europe right now. So they're doing big on that circuit. And I think Matt's origin story is a little similar to mine. I think there's some similar artists. I think our vocals sort of also play in the similar area. So I think it might be a cool thing to do a duet with him, or even someone like Nick Cave, fellow countryman Nick Cave. I'd like to do a sort of a dark, dark power pop rock song with him, or something like that. That might be cool.
Yeah.
But what's coming up for me, I'm working on a single for another artist called Matt Krahula. He's the songwriter and frontman for the Nightmare River Band, and he's now living in Hawaii in Honolulu, and he's coming out with a new a 10-year anniversary album, and he's asked 10 New York musicians to cover each track on the album. So I'm doing a cover of one of his songs, and that will be out in a few months. And I'm working on it right now, and it's sounding. I'm really excited about it. It's sounding really great.
Brilliant. Right. And where can people? Sorry, Casper. Where can people? I'm taking your glory here, mate. Usually,
it's fine, mate. It's fine. I understand. He's your fellow countryman. You talk, mate.
Where can people find you on the socials right now for people that are watching this back or watching live?
Firstly, if you like what you're hearing, sign up at my website, edenjames.com. Just to put your email address in there and sign up to my newsletter, and I can fill you in on all sorts of stuff that's coming out, and throw you some freebies, t-shirts, albums.
Yeah, we love a good freebie. We love some.
There we go. Okay, I'll have to get it to you guys. I'll have to send the stuff over to you too. Well,
I've been doing these for like 30 days straight, so I need some new fresh stuff.
Yeah, so this is my coffee mug. It says old school rock and roll, Eden James.
Lovely.
Nice.
There it is there.
I wouldn't mind one. It looks quite big as well, so it'll probably fit my mouth.
Yeah. So also I'm on Facebook, which is you can just Facebook Eden James Music. You'll find me there. On Instagram, I'm Eden_James. And TikTok, it's Eden James Music. Twitter is also Eden James Music. You just type in Eden James in Google, you'll see me there.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Eden. You are free. You can go out and enjoy that walk in the park now.
I'm going to be running through the park now, just getting some sunshine.
Yeah. Take it while you can.
But thank you very much. I'm going to say thanks to Mini Producer for coming on this, and I'm going to start following you because Mini Producer and I just met right now, just tonight.
Wow.
So we're new musician producer friends. So I'm going to start following you too, dude. Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, guys, that was Eden James all the way from the USA. And look, as he said, we will throw some of his stuff up on our socials. So if you want to get in touch with us, to get in touch with him, where am I coming from? Then, yeah, you do so. Anyway, look, as I said at the start,
I feel like we have a celebrity on the show tonight.
we have two celebrities, I think. You know, Eden James just
Yeah.
rolling off awards after
James.
awards. And, mini producer, man, I like. Yeah, I'm not going to go on about it, but I'm going to let his music do the talking later on. And but anyway, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for waiting. Yeah, tell us a little about yourself, Mini. You know, there's so much obviously to tell, but I'm glad you came on the show. Appreciate that.
Oh, thank you for having me. I mean, this is really cool. I know I was telling you all before we got started that I seem to connect with a lot of different people from the UK. So I feel like that's my secret calling, just to go ahead and make the move to the UK, because I just connect with a lot of people. But I'm mini producer. Obviously, I tell people that I'm 6 feet tall, so I throw people off by calling myself a mini producer. No, but you know, I thought a mini producer obviously because it just kind of works. I always say like I don't know what I would call myself if I was taller. So thankfully, you know, this is the situation I was given, so I didn't have to be, you know, too think too hard about the name.
To your strength. Why
That's
not?
what it's all about, man. You just make light of the
You
situation.
have to. Oh yeah, I mean, especially like when you're dealt with certain cards, you know, you just got to play the game or get out. But I play the game, and so I think that that's important, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And like I said, kind of at the start of the show, I like your beats. I really do.
Thank you.
And you know what?
Thank you.
If I was an artist, I'd be jumping all over this. And in between, kind of us catching up earlier on this morning, I've sent your tracks over to most of our artists that we've had on the show previously, because some of them do buy beats. You know, they go to where their sources are, and you know, they buy beats. A lot of them make their own beats. We've got a really talented producer named Yep, it's Grimy. A high noble shout out to him. He's a very talented guy as well. We've had on the show.
Awesome.
One of our first guys that we had on the show, actually. And also, I've shared your stuff with a very, very special guy to us. His name is Jay Wrights. He's a spoken word poet. He recently done a show at the Apollo. It was amateur night.
Oh, thank you.
So he's always looking for beats and stuff. You know, being a spoken poet, he's always in the search. So I told him you were coming on the show tonight. So hopefully he catches up with you later.
Hey, wow. I mean, like, I feel like that brings a tear in the right eye, right? Like, cause that means a lot, because I always tell people, like, no matter what I accomplish or do, like, I'm just always appreciative of anyone that like shares my stuff, because like I always say, like, I don't no, the world doesn't owe you anything, right? Like, no one owes you anything. And so everything that I've done up to this point, like, I've earned. And so it just means a lot to have other people like share my work with other people, especially when they don't have to. They could just go on about their business and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, sharing is all about supporting one another, and no one can grow if no one supports, right? So
That's so true. That's so true. That's so true.
And Minnie, what we do with the show as well. Sorry, Caspar. We support all artists, so we don't walk away from you. You know, you will be in our network now. We drop every single track that you bring out. We will share everything. And
thank you so much.
Our Instagram account, like, we do that for every single, and I'm not joking. We've had about 80 artists on the show now. We've only been going for about 9 months, and every single artist we share every week, every day. So it's all love. It's all love. Sorry, Caspar.
That's
awesome. I want to talk about how you went absolutely wild, man, on the internet around 2 years ago. So obviously, we was all at home, right? stuck with COVID, the whole COVID situation, and you,
Yeah,
sir, you made the best of a bad situation, right? So
yeah.
kind of tell us how you kind of got really recognized online.
Man, so I'm trying to see if we're referring to the same thing because I did run an ad 2 years in 2020, like on Facebook. So I don't know if we're talking about the same thing because I kind of some things like
We'll
kind of blend
talk
together.
about all of it, Minnie. We'll talk about all of it.
Awesome. So in 2020, I did run an ad. I did this like beat pack and it went viral. It got like 1.3 million views, which is a lot for an
Awesome.
ad, you know, like that's
Awesome.
and so that brought a lot of opportunities because I put together this beat pack. It was the height of the pandemic, you know,
Mm.
and so I guess a lot of artists wanted to make music and so I had put together this beat pack and it honestly came kind of from a stressful time because I was like really trying to figure out what can I, you know, what can I do? Like I want to, you know, there was just so much going on in the world, and I was like,
Yeah.
what can I create to like really have an impact, you know? And so I put together this beat pack with a bunch of beats and just put it out there. And I made the video, so I shot it on my phone, and I was living in an apartment at the time and I just did it in one take. Like I didn't edit it. I, you know, fumbled on some things. You know, it was super organic, but I put it out there because I said, you know what, people are just gonna have to take it or leave it, I guess.
Yeah.
And the video did crazy. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to go as big as it did, you know, and so I connected with like thousands of artists that like I'm still connected with today, and a lot of features, like big features came out of that. Like Tiffany Evans, she's, you know, here in the USA. She got on a song. Another artist named Young LA,
Yeah.
a Filipino artist named Glock 9, who is one of the songs I sent. He's featured on something, and he has like over a million monthly listeners. He's one of the biggest Filipino artists. I didn't know this, but I found this out, and so that one beat pack that I did back in like 2020 had a lot of impact. And then outside of that, I've been able to connect with different companies. I've done stuff with like Snapchat. I was in a Coca-Cola. I'm in a Coca-Cola like advertisement for social media, and
Wow.
because I did their 50th Hilltop commercial campaign, and that was back in 2021. So I'm just really grateful. You know, this journey is just always evolving, and something that's really big for me is just inclusivity and also promoting like just disability awareness. You know what I mean? I know that for me, like there's not a lot of guys that you see in the industry and that look like me, so I definitely am all about just showing representation and showing other people that maybe are interested in doing what I do, that it's possible, and that even if it takes a little bit of effort, you know, a little more effort in comparison to somebody else, that, you know, you can really make things happen for yourself. And so that's really my biggest thing. Like I want to like represent my community as best as I can, and I definitely believe that I'm doing that. And so I'm just grateful for the impact, you know, I've been able to have, because like I'm 26, so I feel like for most people I'm still young. And so and you know, I'm really grateful because I've gone viral several times in the past few years, you know, and so it's definitely a humbling thing though, and just keeps me grounded
That's really
to
good.
keep going.
With you talk about kind of using, you know, your, I won't call it disability, you know, but because you're very
Yeah,
talented. Have you kind of looked at, you know, kind of possibly getting other people with similar types of disabilities involved
yeah.
in programs as well? You know, because obviously, you know, if you could do it, anybody could do it as well. So, have you kind of been involved in those programs or?
So I wouldn't say I've been involved in any programs that are necessarily for people with disabilities. I mean, I've been able to connect with other people that have disabilities. I had a late mentor, and he actually passed away on the first of this year, but his name was Simon Illa, and he was music producer as well. We had the same condition and stuff like that. So he really showed me that it was possible because he did a lot of things, you know, in the life that he had. And so seeing someone like that be so successful and just show that it's possible really has encouraged me even more so to like keep going and keep doing what I'm doing, because he worked with a lot of people in the industry. He knew a bunch of people, people knew him, and you know, he never let his disability stop him. And I think it's important to talk about disability in the community and just in the entertainment industry as well, because I feel like people kind of treat that word in general like as a bad thing. But like, I'm a person that happens to be disabled. It doesn't mean like I can't do, you know, what I'm doing now, but there are certain things that do make it more difficult or more challenging due to having a disability, that I feel like promoting that awareness is important so that people know just like accessibility in the industry. Like, I've had situations where I had to be like carried inside of a studio because they didn't have like a ramp. And so things like that, you know what I mean? Like, making that awareness is important, because I don't feel like the industry is used to people like myself really going out there and like doing things. So sometimes the spaces are not made to be accessible, you know what I mean? And so that's why I just think it's super important to have those discussions and see people like myself out there really doing what they're doing, to be like,
Wow.
hey, you know, anybody can make it happen. But
Like
yeah, yeah,
you're
Yeah,
talking.
man, you're an inspiration. Is as
Yeah,
simple as that.
exactly.
You're an
thank you.
inspiration
I appreciate it.
to everybody, whether you have like a disability or not a disability.
Yeah,
Like, you're an
thank you.
inspiration regardless. But on Facebook we have New Jersey Gift. He says hi as well. He's a very talented rapper
AMC.
from New Jersey.
Gift.
We also have a English rapper by the name of Donovan. He said he's just checked out your beats on Instagram, and he said you're a massive talent. So big love to you
Thank
as
you.
well. And
Thank you.
you've probably gained a few more followers as well.
Yeah, I did see that some followers came from your page, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. I really
Yeah.
appreciate the support and the people that have been commenting so
No,
far.
mate.
Means a lot.
I mean, if you have a talent, then it needs to be shown. It's as simple as that. If you have a talent, it deserves to be recognized. In our opinion, so we don't just get anybody on the show. Like, you have to have a certain degree of talent to appear on
Right.
this show. I'm not,
Right, yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying me and Chanko have all the talent in the world, because we have zero talent. but, but we recognize talent. We're very, very good at recognizing talent. So again, I haven't heard any of your material as yet. I'll try not to kind of compare you to like Dr. Dre
Oh
and
no.
but if I feel I can, I definitely will, because you're going to get an honest reaction. And just before we hear one of your beats, has any kind of big name artist approached you on the back of obviously your beats pack? Because I assume that you got quite a lot of exposure in that time. So has any kind of big artist come to you and said, oh, the Mini, can you make us a beat, or can you do something for us?
So I had a lot of independent artists come out of that, because that was like the target audience.
Yeah.
And I did have some independent artists that ended up buying features and like getting people like Young LA, who is a pretty well-known artist here in the US, and also Tiffany Evans, who is a singer. She had a viral hit called Promise Ring, and a couple other songs back in like the early 2000s, and she's still making music. But those are two that really were, I guess, big artists that came out of that situation. I did get to briefly speak to Young LA, because he just said that my beats were dope, so that was cool. And then yeah, but for the most part, I connect with a lot of independent artists. To me though, I love working with independent artists, because that's like how I got started anyway. So I feel like that community just is so driven and passionate about what they do, because they are striving to get to a certain place. So they're still wanting to put in that work and investing a lot of time and effort into making their dreams happen. And those are the types of artists I like to work with, like people who are chasing their dreams and just want to make stuff happen, because I can relate to that, right? You know, I'm definitely not like the top of the top, you know, nor am I the bottom of the bottom. I'm just, you know, a guy that's making it out in the world. And I feel like that's really relatable for a lot of artists out there. So those are the types of artists I like to work with who invest in themselves and make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, quite well answered as well, because it's good to kind of give back to people, but you never know. Like, you could have a massive artist jump.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe I'm gonna have like a massive song, but I'm always gonna get back to the independent artist community because that's where it all started.
Perfect. Yeah. Anyway, let's listen to one of his tracks. Let's cut the talking and listen to a track. So, this is one of this is one with that Glock 9 that you mentioned, the Filipino rapper. So let's have a listen.
Simple tao just like Glock. Couple shots feel like pop. They were there when times got rough. Can we go and ain't gon' stop? They what I wish I could be. They be the ghosts, they be legends to me. They lit the torch and they passes the key. Without all the music, I couldn't be me. I'm a simple tao just like Glock. Couple shots feel like pop. They were there when times got rough. Can we go and ain't gon' stop? Ooh, they what I wish I could be. They be the ghosts, they be legends to me. They lit the torch, passes the key. Without all the music, I couldn't be me. Back in elementary, I survived through misery. On my own, barely grown, left me alone. I grew up amongst a dying breed. Parents were tough, life was tough, and I knew what pain was. Didn't know how to cope, till I heard a quote on a song by Pop called Changes. Oh, how my mind blew, look at how the time flew. Listening to words by a Mr. Shakur. To me it was medicine, sedative, oxygen, adrenaline. A musical cure, it was so pure. It helped me endure and procure a miniature sense of my worth. That was the first time in the world that I felt that I wasn't just equal to dirt. And even though Pac's gone, his words, man, yo, I'll never forget. I won't. From a kid to a grown man, I try to abide by the words that he said. I do. Don't be scared to fight for what's right and survive all the drama. Man, I teared when I heard unconditional love, and I cried to dear mama. Guess that I'm a simple tao just like Glock. Couple shots feel like pop. They were there when times got rough. Can we go and ain't gon' stop? They what I wish I could be. They be the ghosts, they be legends to me. They lit the torch and they passes the key. Without all the music, I couldn't be me. I'm a simple tao just like Glock. Couple shots feel like pop. They were there when times got rough. Can we go and ain't gon' stop? Ooh, they what I wish I could be. They be the ghosts, they be legends to me. They lit the torch, passes the key. Without all the music, I couldn't be me. Making or fob, stuck in the middle. Who the heck am I? That was a riddle. Didn't fit in both, down to a T, cause I was too much while being too little. Till I hit up Asian Nav, up on the internet. I heard a song that would spark up a light. Simple tao by Glock, believe it or not, it helped me with changing my life. He gave hope to the hopeless, voice to the voiceless. His songs helped grow backbone to the boneless. Verses like poems, hit my psychosis. Serena the opus, the message was loaded. I learned Tagalog by blasting his tracks. Showed me my roots to the core. I remember rapping the verses to Bucket, Sikat na si Pepe, and so many more. Many taught me, kahit na wala akong pera, kahit na buta sa aking bulsa, kahit pa maong ko'y kupas na. Don't be afraid, man, to start your own saga. Move and talk how you wanna. Heck yeah, I'm a simple tao just like Glock. Couple shots feel like pop. They were there when times got rough. Can we go and ain't gon' stop? They what I wish I could be. They be the ghosts, they be legends to me. They lit the torch and they passes the key. Without all the music, I couldn't be me. I'm a simple tao just like Glock. Couple shots feel like pop. They were there when times got rough. Can we go and ain't gon' stop? Ooh, they what I wish I could be. They be the ghosts, they be legends to me. They lit the torch, passes the key. Without all the music, I couldn't be me.
Hello, ako si Glock 9. Gusto ko lang magbahagi ng isang bagay na palagi kong bitbit o lagi kong dinadala o lagi kong pinapaalala sa sarili ko pagdating sa trabahong ito, pagdating sa industriya ng musikang ito. May mga panahon kasi natatanungin mo ang sarili mo kung tama ba na ito ang pinili mo. Tama ba na dito mo inuubos ang oras, taon, hirap, luha at dugo at pawis mo sa trabahong ito. Tama ba na may mga bagay kang pinagpaliban para dito. Siguro pinakamadaling sagot dyan, dapat meron kang malalim na dahilan kung bakit mo ginagawa ito. Siguro maganda rin na gawin mo ito, habulin mo ang pangarap mo.
Wow. Yes, you tuned into the Chalk and Cheese Show with myself, DJ. I was going to say Casper. DJ Charcoal. Casper. My favourite co-host. Well, there's only one, so he's the only one, so he's my favourite.
The only one. Yeah, the only one.
But yeah, that was a track. Two Glock. Obviously, that track was kind of inspired about Tupac. And yeah, I've reached out to Glock 9 already. Told him his track was playing on our podcast right now. So hopefully he tunes in later to have a listen to this interview. But man, let me talk about this track. Obviously, you know, you're very talented. One thing I want to ask you, Mitty, is that you say you kind of help out unsigned artists. Do they come with you with kind of their vocals or their rap, and then you kind of look at that package, so to speak, and then you go, okay, this beat will fit? Or is it the other way around, where you go, okay, this beat, this beat will fit your rap? Or do they just come to you and go, send me a beat? How does it work?
It really just depends. I mean, I have different situations where, like, this artist in particular, because, you know, there were two artists, so the independent artist and then Glock 9 is like the feature. And so the independent artist, he bought the beat pack that I was telling you about. So that was one of the beats that was featured in the pack. So he just went on it and did his thing. I also have situations where artists come to me and they want specific beats, so I'll create something, you know, for them. I've also had situations where, like, I'll reach out to an artist and say, like, hey, I could hear these beats, you know, or I want to make you some beats. It really just depends on the situation.
Because with that track, the only reason why I kind of asked that track, Minnie, sorry for cutting you off, is because you had that kind of guitar kind of riff in the middle. And was that already there, or was that something kind of they went, you know what, I want this in between?
Yeah, so they added that in post-production. Because that wasn't in the original beat. But it definitely was a switch up that I wasn't expecting, you know, when I heard the track. But I thought it was cool, and that's what I love about doing what I do, right? Because, like, I could start out with an idea and then someone else takes it and creates something completely different out of it. And I just think it's really awesome. And for that beat in particular, like, that is one of my most popular beats that I had, especially around that time period before I sold it, like, exclusively. And so, yeah, I mean, people really love that beat. Like, so many artists were like hopping on that beat, and, you know, but yeah, so that was just one of those.
Once that beat's gone, sorry, Casper, once that beat's gone, like, what do you go, nah, I've already given that beat to kind of Glock 9? Or do you go, yeah, you sure you can have that beat? Because
oh no, I'm all about I'm very about transparency. So, like, once I sell a beat exclusively, like, that's it. So anybody that used it before, like, you know, they use it. But after that, like, I don't sell it anymore. I don't give it to anyone else. Like, I'm just all about being honest and stuff like that. So and now I've kind of transitioned into, when it comes to exclusives, I really like to make stuff, like, actually exclusive of, like, one person on the beat only, because, like, a lot of artists, they just want beats for themselves and don't want other artists to have them. So I've been getting more into, like, the customs and, like, that kind of thing, so that artists could just be the only one with the beat, so they don't have to worry about, like, another artist using it, or another 1,000 artists on the same beat and stuff like that.
For sure. With that beat, man, they don't lie when they say, like, good things come in small packages, no? Like, they don't lie about that shit. Fuck, man. Like, well, when the beat started, I was like, okay, yeah, he's
right.
Yeah, the guitar is nice, but when that 808 just dropped,
came in there, right? It just
dumped,
it knocks you out, right?
It's like, fuck, I had to turn my speaker down, man. Yeah, I had to turn it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But shit, man. And again, I'll just echo what Charcoal said. Like, I wasn't expecting that like Spanishy part in there. I was like,
yeah, the breakdown.
fuck. I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, yeah, that definitely, in a weird way, it worked. It
Right,
definitely broke
yeah.
up.
It was kind of like one of those things of like, is this working? Is it not working? You know what I mean? But yeah, like
Yeah.
I feel you on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely broke up the beat, and then obviously the beat come back in. But I like the strings in the beat. The
Thank you.
obviously the drums are hard. The 808, that
Thank
808
you.
is a different level, man.
Thank you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
like the production of it, man. Like, I wasn't even listening to the rapper, and that's no disrespect to the rapper, but
Oh, of course.
I'm
Yeah.
like, you're here. There, you
Right.
produced the track. I was listening to the track more than anything, and you done it
Thank you.
so. Like I kind of like the sudden breaks in it as well, like where the music just
Thank you.
cut and then it was just like, then it just kind of went back into it. It was wavy, and that's what
Thank
me and
you.
Joe like. We like to be taken on the journey. When we listen to a track, we like to be taken on the journey, whether that's the
Thank you.
beat doing that or whether that's the rapper doing that.
Thank you.
But I
Wow.
definitely Glock 9 and obviously your production, it just worked. It literally just
Thank
worked.
you so much.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you.
It's a fire track, but then again, I was listening to the beat and I could see like a well-established artist dropping
Thank
on
you.
that, like maybe a Kendrick maybe dropping on
Oh
it.
man. Thank you for real.
Even
Thank
even
you.
50 Eminem on that beat would just sound fucking amazing. Do you know what I mean?
I
like,
appreciate you. Wow.
no, and I'm not just saying it because like
I
I'm
know
in
you're
it.
not trying to gas me up. Like I
No,
really
no, not at
appreciate it.
all,
So
man.
like
Well,
I
fucking,
really appreciate it.
and this is why I like to hear music and the tracks live. Like I don't like to pre-listen to them so I can kind of premeditate what I'm going to say. What I say is what I hear. So yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
Yeah, congratulations on that, man. It's a big production. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I
We
appreciate that.
it's funny because you mentioned Philippine artists. My brother is currently he arrived in Philippines yesterday. Yeah, his partner's Filipino, so that's the reason why I reached out because I'll get him on the show. Don't you worry. It'll be it'll be something that I do, or we do. Sorry. Yeah. So let's hear this next track as well.
And I'll send you the sorry to cut you off. I was gonna say I'll send you the independent artist who also was on there, Ray G.
Yeah, sure. No, definitely do that because it's Ray. Is it Ray G?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. I'll hit that person up as well. So we'll hear another track. I've got it pretty much loaded up and ready to go. And let's kind of delve into the deep darkness side of MIDI. Come on, let's go.
I can feel your energy. I can tell you into me. I can feel your synergy. So baby, just keep loving me. Love, love, love. You know how I get when you make sweet love to me. I know all the things to do to please your body. And if loving you is wrong, I don't wanna be right. Am I asking too much if I ask you to stay tonight? Let me take over your body. I know that you got low mileage. When we get together, we wildin'. We keep our business in private. Running up chest like in private. Winding down you to the finest. Yeah. Baby, I know how to make you feel. You got the best I ever had, just being real. I give you good love and have you in your feels. Yeah, you know this love, I'm gon' give you the chills. I can feel your energy. I can tell you into me. I can feel your synergy. So baby, just keep loving me. Love, love, love.
that energy that make you wanna love me, that make you wanna with me, yeah. I'm gonna be right here for you. The other ones just can't do it for you. I got the vibe, no lie, yeah. Come and take over my body, yeah. You know that I never mind it. We get together, we wildin'. I like our business in private. Running up checks, I ain't private. Winding down me to the finest. You know I like that. You know how to make you feel. Got the best you ever had, just being real. I give you good love and have you where you feel. Yeah, I know this love ain't gon' give you the chills.
I can feel your energy. I can tell you into me. I can feel your synergy. So baby, just keep loving me. Love, love, love.
It's funny because I'm smiling because do you know what? I can just sense it. I'm not even looking at the camera right now. I'm not even looking at Casper's face, but I bet you he's got a big smile, big fuck off smile on his face right now. He loves R&B and he'll be all over that track, all over it. He would.
Minnie, I'm not even gonna. I'm not even gonna lie, Minnie. I'm gonna gas you the fuck up now, man, because that shit is hard.
Thank you so much.
Hell, mate, you
Man,
just kind of that track just
professional.
the track just took me there, man. It took me there. I was like, oh fuck, mate, that's not even a 10, man. That's above 10. Like,
Thank you. Thank you.
I can tell that there's a reoccurring theme already that you do love a good 808.
I love 808s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hats off to the artist as well. When that female artist dropped her shit on that, man, I was like, fuck, man, I wasn't expecting it, but it was a nice, it just blended nicely. Now I'm gonna hook you up now with an artist that I think you should work with if you're gonna produce tracks like that.
Yeah.
His name is Rhymes.
Right.
His
name is what?
Rhymes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can send you the details over on
Yeah.
Instagram, but and his TikTok and everything like that. When I tell you this guy has the silkiest fucking voice ever, man. Like I think when he was on the show, I think I compared him to Mario or Amarian, or it was someone like that. Anyway, that's how good he is. No, Trey Songz. I actually compared him to Trey Songz because he just brings sexy back in R&B, man.
I love it.
And I feel that's what the world is missing. Tracks like the world is missing that, especially like I'm just getting overly gassed because I'm a massive R&B head. So of course I'm going to prefer the second track over the first one, 100%.
Right.
But yeah, man, that track, Minnie, just
Thank
fucking
you.
hats off to you, man. Hats off.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You know what? This time around, I listened to both. So I listened to the vocals and obviously music production because I was sitting there going, wow, man, you know what? I could pitch this song just in the charts. And when I mean it was tight, I mean it was tight, so tight. You can't even like fault it anywhere. Those two vocal artists, man, they're fucking good. And I've just hit them up on Instagram. So yeah, I've let them know that we're listening to their track on this podcast, not because I want them to jump on and think we're great, but I just want them to know that we think that they're great. And you, Biddy, wow.
Thank you.
What makes you go?
Let me tell you something about that track. Just sorry, Choco, 1 minute. Like fucking, you know when The Weeknd dropped "Earned It" on 50 Shades. Fuck that track off and put that track over it. I guarantee.
Thank
I
you.
swear to you, man. I swear, like it would be good in one of them kind of like erotics, like mainstream sex movies type of thing, like 50 Shades and stuff like that. Even like 365 Days, that's on Netflix as well. It would just drop nicely in there. Like Fuck yeah, your chocolate.
It was
Oh,
good.
carry on, man.
No, that's all right, mate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, I was gassing him at the moment. You had your turn, man. Oh, let me get my turn gassing him up. But yeah, look, Minnie, hats off to you, man. And
Thank you.
I'll take my hat off
Thank
if you want to see my shiny head. So that track, as I said to you, you could picture that track in any kind of love feature, any romantic kind of rom-com, anything like that. We have a show over here at the moment, Love Island. It's called. It's like a reality TV show. You can kind of picture that song on Love Island when like two of the
No,
contestants.
but that song is
Oh,
too
that would be
hard
cool.
for Love Island. No, that song is too hard for Love Island. Like Love Island
Too
isn't ready
bad.
for that track. Yeah.
Let's reach out to Love Island and see what they say. Because hey, that artist that we kind of reached out to the other day who was on Love Island, let's see if we can get that song in there. We will work out magic. We will. I don't know how it will go, but we'll try it. We'll try it. Yeah, Minnie, getting back to your music production, mate. Casper, you know, he just summed up. It's perfect. It's sublime.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
personally, professionally, you are going to go places, man. I guarantee.
you.
You've already done so much as it is, and if no big artist doesn't jump on that, like saying that, no big artist, like I've just had a look at those two vocalists on there, man, they got a big following on Instagram, so you could class them as a big artist, and they're both certified as well. So, whew, hats off to you, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
How long have you been doing music production for?
So I've been producing, like I've been making just beats in general since 2010, but I was a high school student, so I said I got serious when I started college in 2014, because I feel like everyone is a rapper at least one time in college, you know, and so that's where things got serious for me, because you know when I first started in high school, I mean I really never imagined that, you know, it would become anything, to be honest with you. I just enjoy doing it, and then once I got to college and you know people wanted to pay me, and I was like, what, you can make money off of this, you know? I didn't know that, like, you could. I just thought that was for like the Dr. Dre's of the world, you know, the bigger guys of the world. Like I didn't think that someone just really getting started could make anything out of it, you know. And so it's been really an awesome journey. And I know we were talking about my 808s. That's what most people know me for. Like I really love 808s. And so and that really came from being inspired by like producers like Wonder Girl, because I don't know if you've heard of her, but she produced like for Jay-Z when she first started. That's what she became known for. She produced on the Watch the Throne album, I believe. And so when she did that, she was known for like her 808. So I was like, man, I want to make sure that whenever someone hears my beats, my 808s, and I've gotten better with like mixing them and kind of lowering them down. I know on those tracks it's like, yo, it like blows you back, but I love 808s. Like I love drum work. I think that that's very important because it just adds to the bounce of the track and really gets you to feel something, even outside of the melody. Like I think melodies are important as well. I just feel like drums really can like make or break a track. So I really pay attention to like all the elements of the beat. However, I do show some extra love to the drums just because those are my favorite. That's my favorite element of creating a beat.
What are your?
And
Sorry, Casper, you go.
so, and is it kind of like your full-time job? This is what you do now, like
Yes,
full-time?
this is my full time, which is so like I'm so grateful to say that, right? Because like I know a lot of people don't have that like privilege to say that, right? So and I'm in a privileged situation anyway. I mean, and a lot of it does have to kind of do with disability. Like I live like in my parents' home just due to accessibility reasons until I get a place that's like fully accessible for me that makes sense. And so I am blessed in that way too. Obviously, my rent's not extreme, I guess, in comparison to other places. So there are a lot of factors that make it easier for me to be full time. So I do acknowledge having that privilege as well. However, I have been doing this full time for since like 2018. I think the last like job I had was in college, and I graduated in 2018. So that's the last time I like had a job at all. And since then, I've just been like doing this, and there's always levels to it, but I'm just grateful to be able to do this every single day and not be tied to any other obligations outside of whatever I kind of
I
create
wanna
for my
work like
day.
you, man. I'm going to start producing. Don't you worry about that. I'll be
Start making some beats, like
definitely.
no, but
Hey, just a quick one before I wrap the questions up.
yeah,
Let,
of
let
course.
um, you would have obviously heard of kind of drill coming over and having that influence, especially like in Jersey at the moment, where Jersey coming up with kind of their own Jersey beat, kind of mixing with that drill beat as well. So, what are your kind of? Are you kind of keeping up with that kind of style with what you're looking for to do in the future? Because obviously, you've got your own style, and that's perfect. But sometimes it's good to go with the flow as well. So kind of go with what's in fashion, so to speak.
So I do all styles of like beats. So I have done some drill beats. I've had artists that do like drill music on my stuff, obviously because I love 808, so it's
Yeah.
kind of not too difficult. I don't keep up with trends per se, just because I feel like a trend is a trend. So once the trend is kind of done, then you're looking for the next thing. I just listen to different kinds of music and just take influences from whatever I like. Like I like country music, I like alternative, like I like rock, like I like all kinds of music. I don't box myself in to any genre. So, I'm really open to working with any kind of artist. I always say like I'll try something once, and you know what I mean. If I dig it, then I'll keep going. If it's not me, and it is what it is, but I tried it.
For sure. Another UK podcast is, excuse me, tuned in on the Facebook sessions. He said he could listen to that track on repeat all day.
Thank
All
you.
day.
Shout
It's
out.
just fun. Like I'd like. This is what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter, and you summed it up perfectly. It doesn't matter whether you have a disability, whether you're able-bodied, or nothing should stop you doing for what you love to do. And you're living proof and a massive inspiration to everyone, man. Like, and it's just refreshing to see that, because some people with disabilities, they kind of feel sorry for themselves and say, oh, I
Yep.
can't do this, I can't do that, and I can't do this, and can't do that. But you, on the flip side of it, like, it's almost like you've embraced it. Like, you call
Yep.
yourself the producer.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, and so again, you're very, very, very talented, and
Thank you.
honestly, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, man. Because you're a great guy, very, very talented, and yeah, I agree with Charcoal, man. You're gonna go far. Like, you're gonna get that one up and coming artist that just makes it, and that's it, man. Your millions are gonna come in for sure.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No, and look, it's been great having you on show, Mitty. Like, Casper, I don't know if you're thinking the same thing, but we currently promote an indie band of all bands over in the UK. So, as soon as you said I will work with anybody, I was like, ping, straight in my head. I was thinking, oh gosh, can we get an indie style on that style of genre that you're kind of pumping out? I was thinking, it might work. Anyway, I know one of them was watching because I just looked at my phone. So, shout out to the boys crews. You guys, obviously, we're invested in you, and hopefully, if you can network with talented producer that we have on the tonight's show, don't worry, I'll speak to them later. Once again, thank you very much, man, all the way from the US. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said at the start of our interview, we do stay connected. So look, I'm going to send traffic your way. Definitely, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Traffic is coming. Don't you worry. You're going to have some.
Thank you.
But yeah, absolute pleasure having you on. Such a humble bloke, and
Thank you.
all the best in the future, man. And we'll stay connected for sure.
Thank you.
So, guys, that is an absolute wrap of a show. Wow, where did the time go? We had two great artists, two different style artists on the show tonight. Usually we go hip hop and that's it, R&B, that's it. But mixing the two together, I think it was quite refreshing because, having kind of two different stories coming and both wanting to achieve the same thing and both producing great music as well at the same time. So as always, guys, we are here every Wednesday. Massive shout out to everyone that's been tuned in on our social medias. If you missed the show tonight, we will post it on our YouTube account. We'll post it on our Facebook, our Instagram. We'll take snippets. We'll do everything. And you guys that are watching, if you want to jump on for an interview, if you know any friends that are really talented people as well, make sure you send them our way because it's all love. We don't get paid. We just do it for love. So anyway, that's me signing off, and I'll hand it over to I was going to call you Charcoal, man. What's going on with my head tonight? It's crazy. I need another beer. But anyway, see you later, guys.
Yeah, massive thank you. Just going to echo what Charcoal said. Massive thank you to the mini producer and Eden James for jumping on the show tonight. Thank you for your time and your talent. Also, if you do miss anything, then you can catch all the interviews within possibly about 5 days to a week. They'll be posted on our website, which is www.thechalkcheeseshow.com. You can hear all the artists' music also on the Chalk and Cheese radio station. We add all the artists music to the playlist as well, so it goes worldwide. And guys, a massive thank you to Sesh Sessions, Cruise, and New Jersey Gift, just to name a few that was on the live tonight. Also Donovan as well. I think Donovan will be very, very excited regarding mini producers beats, so I think I might throw him your way as well. But guys, that is a wrap from us tonight. Like I say, massive thank you to everybody, and we will be back next week 8:30 on the dot. Until then, guys, I've been DJ Casper, DJ Charcoal, and we have been the Chalk and Cheese Show. Till next week, guys. Take care. Peace out.
You know how I get when you make sweet love to me. I know all the things to do to please your body.